There is a language older than speech, older than any scripture, older than the first cry of mankind. It does not exist in the mouth or the mind, it moves through silence. When you truly sit in stillness, when the world around you quiets and the hum of your thoughts begins to dissolve, something subtle begins to happen. You start to sense a current, faint, invisible, yet undeniably real. It's the silent rhythm that underlies everything that is. The rustle of leaves, the pulse of your heart, the flow of galaxies, all of it in perfect conversation, but not in words. You see, words were humanity's attempt to make sense of what it could already feel. Before we named the stars, we already felt their pull. Before we created gods, we already sensed the divine. The universe has always spoken, but it speaks in ways the intellect cannot translate. We mistake silence for absence, but silence is not the absence of communication. It's the fullness of it. It's where meaning overflows language. When you look into the eyes of someone you love, no word is needed. When you stand before the vast ocean and feel its magnitude press upon your chest, one that is communication without sound. The universe speaks in this way every day. The tragedy is that we have forgotten how to listen. Our lives have become an orchestra of noise. Screens flashing, thoughts racing, opinions colliding. We crave the loud because it distracts us from the quiet. And the quiet is where truth lives. The quiet asks us to feel. It asks us to face the emptiness within. And that emptiness terrifies us. But it's only in that space that we begin to hear the deeper song of existence. Silence is not passive. It's alive. It's the space where creation first formed itself. In every ancient tradition, before the universe began, there was silence, a void, still and infinite. And from that silence, the first vibration, the first sound, the word, the the kun fayakun, re-emerged. Every form, every atom, every soul is an echo of that first vibration. That means silence isn't the opposite of sound. It's its source. When you listen deeply enough, you start to realize that silence isn't empty. It's charged. It's intelligent. It carries the memory of everything that ever was and ever will be. In your most sacred moment, when you stop fighting, stop chasing, stop needing to prove anything, you can feel it. That subtle awareness that something vast, compassionate, and conscious is holding you. We call it intuition, we call it energy, some call it God, but these are all labels for the same silent intelligence that breathes through all things. It never shouts. It only whispers, and it only whispers to those who are still enough to hear. Think of it. Have you ever had a sudden knowing, a flash of insight that came from nowhere? Have you ever felt that someone was thinking of you just before they called? Have you ever walked into a room and felt something before anything was said? That's not imagination. That's the silent language of reality. The language that doesn't need grammar or syntax, because it's not carried by sound, and it's carried by vibration. And vibration is the foundation of existence itself. Every molecule, every thought, every emotion, it all vibrates. The universe isn't a structure of things. It's a symphony of frequencies. And silence is not the absence of this music. It's the moment between the notes. The pause that gives meaning to sound. Without silence, there is no melody. So to hear the universe speak, you don't need to do more, you need to be less. Less thinking, less talking, less proving, less rushing. Because the louder the mind becomes, the fainter the universe's voice gets. When you slow down enough to notice the subtle, the sound of your breath, the hum beneath your thoughts, the gentle pull of presence itself, you begin to realize that existence is constantly communicating. It's guiding you, warning you, inviting you, and all in silence. In those moments when you feel lost, it's not that the universe has stopped speaking. It's that the noise of your fear has grown too loud. The answers are not out there in the chaos. They're waiting in the quiet. Silence is the ultimate teacher. It doesn't instruct with words. It transforms through experience. It doesn't tell you what to think. It shows you who you are. And maybe that's why so few truly listen. Because silence doesn't flatter the ego, it dissolves it. It doesn't confirm your beliefs. It reveals them as illusions. It doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you need, clarity. Truth, humility, and connection. When you sit in silence long enough, the boundary between you and the universe begins to blur. You realize you were never separate from it. You were the silence all along, pretending to be a voice inside it. The language beyond words isn't something you learn. It's something you remember. And once you remember, you can never unhear it. Because then you know, the silence was never empty. It was speaking to you all this time. There's a reason the universe feels quiet when you stop to listen. It's not because nothing is happening, it's because everything is. Awareness operates like a frequency, subtle, continuous, and omnipresent. But we've forgotten how to tune into it. We've built a world that rewards volume over vibration, noise over nuance. Yet beneath the static of our busy minds, there's a signal, pure, ancient, and personal. That signal is awareness itself. You were born tuned to it. As a child, you lived in that frequency effortlessly. You felt the aliveness of the world, the hum behind the trees, the magic in the wind, the mystery in every sunset. You didn't name it. You just knew. Then the world taught you to stop listening. It told you to think louder, to move faster, to measure everything in logic and results. You began confusing awareness with attention, believing that what you focused on defined what was real. But awareness is deeper than focus. Focus is narrow, directed, temporary. Awareness is infinite, open, eternal. When you quiet your thoughts, awareness reveals itself. It's the silent witness behind the noise, the space in which thought happens. You can't see it, but without it, you couldn't see anything. You can't hear it, but without it, you wouldn't hear it all. The hidden frequency of awareness is not something you find. It's what you already are. You are not the sound. You're the silence that allows sound to exist. You are not the thoughts. You're the awareness that notices them arise and dissolve. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean. The waves crash, the wind roars, the foam churns, right? And yet beneath it all lies a depth untouched by motion. Awareness is that depth still. Infinite, unmoved, everything in your life. Emotions, fears, desires, none are just waves on its surface. The tragedy of modern existence is that we've mistaken the waves for the ocean. We live reacting to every ripple, forgetting that we are the water itself. This is why silence feels uncomfortable to most people. Because silence is where awareness confronts itself. In the absence of distraction, you meet what you've been running from, the awareness that sees through everything you think you are. But here's the truth, and that confrontation isn't punishment. It's liberation, because when you begin to feel awareness, not as a concept, but as an experience, something profound happens. The boundaries between you and life start to fade. You realize that awareness isn't inside you. You are inside it. Everything you see, hear, and feel, every sensation, every thought appears within this field of awareness like stars in a night sky. You are not separate from it. You are the sky. The stars come and go, but the space remains untouched. And this awareness isn't passive. It's intelligent. It's the universe observing itself through you. Every insight, every moment of clarity, every inexplicable coincidence. That's the hidden frequency speaking. It doesn't use words because words are too small for what it wants to express. It speaks through alignment, through resonance, through what we call intuition. You've felt it in that sudden inner pull that tells you to trust something. Without reason. That's awareness vibrating in harmony with truth. The mind may resist it, but the soul always recognizes its frequency. You can feel when you're in alignment with awareness. Life flows differently. There's effort, but not struggle. There's uncertainty, but not fear. You act without needing to control. You move without needing to prove. Because deep down, you know that something greater is guiding you. It's something that doesn't speak in sentences, but in synchronicities. You start to notice patterns, people appearing at the right moment, obstacles redirecting you toward unexpected growth, delays protecting you from what you weren't ready for. This isn't luck. It's awareness, shaping experience to match the vibration of your state. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. And what you are is the vibration of your awareness. That's why two people can live the same event and experience completely different realities. One person reacts with fear, another with peace. Not because life treated them differently, but because they're tuned to different frequencies of awareness. When you raise your frequency, not by pretending to be positive, but by becoming present, and the quality of your reality changes. Opportunities appear. Relationships shift. Synchronicities multiply. Why? Because you stop resisting the flow of life and begin listening to it. The hidden frequency of awareness doesn't demand your belief. It asks for your stillness. It doesn't need you to worship, only to witness. So how do you tune into it? By doing less. By being with what is. By allowing thoughts to come and go without chasing them. By noticing sensations in your body. By hearing the silence beneath every sound. By realizing that awareness is always here, even when you forget to notice. The great paradox is that you can't find awareness because you can't find what you never lost. You can only remember it. And when you remember, everything changes. The world doesn't suddenly become easier, but it becomes clearer. You stop needing constant validation because awareness itself becomes your anchor. You stop fearing uncertainty because you begin to sense that awareness is certainty. That's when you finally understand the secret the mystics whispered for centuries. You are not listening to the universe. The universe is listening through you, and the frequency it uses is awareness. Every sound in the universe needs space to echo, and every truth within you needs silence to return home. When you listen deeply, not just with your ears but with your entire being, you begin to realize that silence itself is not empty. It's a mirror, and what reflects from that mirror is you. Everything you hear, everything you experience, everything you attract is an echo of your own soul. Life does not speak to you in random events. It repeats you back to yourself until you finally understand the pattern. This is why the universe can feel repetitive, why certain lessons, people, and situations keep appearing. They're not punishments, they're reflections. Each one carries a message. This too is you. You see, existence is not something happening to you, it's something happening through you. You don't merely observe reality and you generate it. Every emotion you suppress, every thought you entertain, every vibration you emit becomes the language through which the universe responds. This means the world you experience outside is shaped by the world you nurture inside. The angry person sees anger everywhere. The fearful person sees threats in every shadow. The peaceful person sees meaning in every silence. It's not that the world changes. It's that awareness tunes into different echoes. Your life is a feedback loop of consciousness. The things you notice most are the frequencies you're vibrating at. When you're anxious, you attract anxious energies. When you're grateful, you start seeing grace everywhere. It's not mystical. It's law, the psychological and energetic reflection of the soul. But here's the hidden beauty. Once you understand that everything around you is an echo, you stop fighting the sound. You begin listening to what it's trying to say. If the world feels chaotic, perhaps the chaos is calling you to ground yourself. If people keep abandoning you, maybe it's the universe reminding you to stop abandoning your own heart. If silence feels unbearable, maybe it's because your soul is asking to finally be heard. The outer world is the most honest mirror you will ever have, because it doesn't lie. It only reflects. This is what ancient mystics and modern psychologists both understood in their own languages, that the unconscious creates the visible. What you repress, deny, or ignore does not disappear, it manifests. Your unhealed patterns project themselves outward as circumstance until you bring them home through awareness. That is why real healing doesn't begin by changing your environment. It begins by changing your perception, because perception is projection. When you stop blaming the world and start listening to it, when you begin asking, what part of me is this showing? You step into conscious creation. That's when silence transforms from emptiness into revelation. You start to feel that every whisper, every coincidence, every delay, every heartbreak is the universe reflecting a message from within. And that's where transformation begins. When you stop resisting your reflections, they soften. When you face your shadows with understanding, they dissolve. When you listen to the echo instead of trying to silence it, it becomes music. Every soul carries its own melody, a unique vibration that only it can play. When you live out of alignment with that melody, life feels dissonant. You experience confusion, resistance, and inner noise. But when you return to your authentic frequency, when your thoughts, emotions, and actions align, the universe begins to harmonize around you. Things fall into place, opportunities open, relationships shift toward resonance. It's not magic. It's matching frequency. The outer world starts to echo your inner balance. The echo of your soul can also appear through the people you meet. Have you noticed how some people seem to trigger you instantly? Others feel like home even if you just met them? That's not coincidence. Each person vibrates at a certain frequency, and they reveal to you the vibrations hidden within yourself. The ones who trigger you show you where you're still wounded. The ones who soothe you show you what peace feels like. The ones who leave you teach you the sound of your own strength. All of it, every joy, every wound, every silence is part of your soul's symphony. And the universe is simply playing it back for you, note by note, echo by echo, until you remember the original melody. There is a sacred intimacy in realizing that the universe doesn't judge your vibration, it only mirrors it. You don't need to beg for change. You only need to become what you wish to see reflected. If you want love, vibrate love, even when it feels impossible. If you want peace, cultivate stillness, even in chaos. If you want meaning, approach life with curiosity instead of control, because the universe does not respond to your words. It responds to your state of being. In this awareness, silence becomes your teacher again. When you sit quietly, you begin to hear the echo within the echo, the subtle reminder that your soul has never been separate from the source that created it. The entire cosmos, every galaxy, every heartbeat is a grand reflection of consciousness, and you are a single note within that infinite song. You are both the listener and the sound, the echo and the space, the question and the answer. When you finally understand this, you stop chasing meaning and start becoming it. You stop fighting reflections and begin honoring them. You stop seeing life as punishment and start experiencing it as participation with the eternal dance between silence and sound. And maybe that's what the universe has been saying all along. Not look outside for truth, but look within and recognize the echo. Because every silence you've ever feared, every shadow you've ever run from, every unanswered prayer you've ever whispered, has been the same voice, the same presence, the same echo of your own soul, calling you back home. There is a sacred language that no tongue can speak. No ear can fully hear, the language of stillness. It's the sound beneath sound, the vibration beneath thought. When you learn to listen to it, you begin to hear the whispers of the universe, not through words, but through energy, intuition, and silent knowing. Every great truth ever realized was born in silence. The Buddha found enlightenment under a tree, not in a debate. Prophets withdrew to the mountains, caves, and deserts, not because they wanted to escape the world, but because they wanted to hear what the world was truly saying beneath all the noise. Silence is not emptiness. It is fullness in its purest form, the womb from which creation itself arises. In silence, the mind stops shouting, and the soul begins to sing. The thoughts that once screamed for your attention dissolve, leaving only clarity, raw, unfiltered awareness. In that space, you don't need to ask questions anymore, because you become the answer. Modern life, however, fears silence. We fill every second with noise, notifications, conversations, entertainment. We run from the quiet because the quiet exposes us. In silence, we meet ourselves without the masks. We hear the echo of our wounds, the ache of our forgotten dreams. But what we don't realize is that this discomfort is the first step toward awakening. The silence you fear is the very doorway to your healing. When you sit in true stillness, something begins to shift. You feel life breathing through you rather than you trying to control it. The air moves softer. Your heartbeat aligns with the rhythm of the earth. Time seems to stretch. In that vast pause, you sense an intelligence far greater than thought, a consciousness that connects everything. That's when you begin to notice the universe is not silent. It's speaking constantly, just not in the way you expect. A sudden intuition, a chance encounter, a dream that feels more real than reality. The pattern of raindrops on your window. These are not coincidences. They are messages. But to perceive them, you must first become still enough to hear. The irony is, silence is not something you create. It's something that's always there. Beneath the turbulence of thought, beneath the chaos of the external world, silence has always existed, vast, eternal, unshaken. Like the sky behind the clouds. The clouds of thought may come and go, but the sky never leaves. You don't have to build silence. You simply have to remember it. So how do you listen to silence? You stop doing and start being. You sit, you breathe. You let your senses open. You let thoughts pass without chasing them. You let feelings arise without naming them. You simply watch. And in that watching, awareness expands. At first, you may hear only your mind, restless, noisy, impatient. But stay long enough and something deeper awakens. You'll begin to feel guided as if an unseen force is aligning your path. The right people appear. The right opportunities flow. Not because you forced them, but because silence tuned you to the frequency of the universe, where everything is already orchestrated. Silence becomes your compass. You'll feel when something is right and you'll know when it's not. Words lose their importance because truth now vibrates from within you. That's when life starts feeling effortless. Not because challenges disappear, but because you are no longer resisting the current. You are listening to it. You are flowing with it. In the silence between your thoughts, miracles are born. Creativity awakens. Healing begins. Peace descends. You start realizing that the universe never stopped speaking. You just stopped listening. So find your silence. Protect it. It's not an escape from the world, it's a return to your source. In a world addicted to noise, silence is rebellion. It's wisdom. It's connection. Because when the universe speaks in silence, those who truly listen never live the same again.